Good day there once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here. Today my friends, we're going to be doing a weapon review for the EM6 light machine gun available to the new Conglomerate Heavy Assault Division. Now, the EM6 is a weapon that I have visited in the past, but this was about 5 years ago, back when I will admit I was a little bit less knowledgeable about weapon mechanics in Planetside 2 and how weapons really fitted into the grand scheme of things. And look, I've been grinding away over the last couple of weeks to Auraxium this weapon on my Soltech character, so I figured that we will give the weapon a revisit and, you know, give it a review that is worthy of its presence. Considering that my old review for the weapon still tops the YouTube search list, I kind of feel a bit bad, so let's make some amends. If you're new to my channel, with weapon reviews we tend to go over the weapon's specific stats first, followed by discussing how the weapon is designed to be used, followed by some discussion regarding the attachment options. But for those of you who are a little bit time poor and can't sit through a 10-minute plus review, let's do a quick TLDR of the weapon's behaviour to get a brief idea as to how the weapon performs. So, the EM6. This is a weapon of interesting qualities, a weapon that tries to fill a very particular niche, if you will. The EM6 features a damage model that users of the LA1 anchor will be very familiar with, meaning that the weapon packs some serious damage in CQC, but quickly drops off. We are talking the exact same damage output and rate of fire here, the primary difference obviously existing in the magazine size, which places the EM6 as a result as this quote-unquote middle child in the NC LMG family between the Gauss saw and the anchor. It's got more rounds than the anchor for crowd control use, but its damage to rate of fire profile doesn't see it being as difficult to master as the Gauss saw, which requires you to be deadly accurate in CQC to avoid getting outgunned by the likes of TR and VS LMGs. With that said, however, the EM6 in CQC does demand that you treat her with care. Yes, she does end up being a more forgiving weapon than the Gauss saw in close quarters combat, but missing your hits will still certainly put you on the back foot quickly, which therefore sees the weapon being best used in tight choke points where you can control firefights easier. Anywhere with limited flanking opportunities to ensure that you aren't automatically put on the back foot will let you go to town on the poor bastards that find themselves on the wrong end of your barrel. Its ability to maintain accuracy over medium range firefights is also commendable, which again will allow for players who found the Gauss sword just a little bit too much of a beast for their liking to settle right in with the playstyle of the EM6. Just be sure to tap that trigger when using it at those longer ranges. But that again is just a simple TLDR for the weapon. For all those who want to dive into the stats a little bit more, let's get into those numbers and see what we can find out. Kickstarting us off here is the damage profile. The weapon has a maximum damage of 167 at the 10 meter mark and drops sharply off to 125 at the 75 meter mark, which again is the exact same profile that you can find on a fair few NC weapons, the Gauss Saw S, the GD22S and the Anchor. So it's going to feel very familiar, but any weapon that drops 2 tiers of damage can be a little bit harsh at longer ranges. This means that the weapon is going to require 6 shots to nail that one wanker that's appeared in your sights at 10 meters, 7 shots at the 47 meter mark, and 8 shots at the 75 meter mark. So obviously, when it comes to longer range combat, the weapon will begin to falter, and you'll start to see some cases of enemies being able to dash into cover before you nail the kill. We will readdress this a little bit later when we come to the cone of fire information, which means that trigger discipline and headshots are going to be rather crucial here. This is also why sticking to mid-range firefights that feature choke points is going to result in less headaches for you. Now, when we combine the rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute or 10 rounds per second with the damage output, we can arrive at a theoretical time to kill of 0.5 seconds at 10 meters, 0.6 seconds at the 47 meter mark, and 0.7 seconds at the 75 meter mark, which for close quarters combat is honestly nothing record breaking, meaning that again, being able to control the engagements and go for headshots are going to significantly improve your time with the gun as well as your survivability. Now, moving on to the accuracy of the weapon, the recoil pattern is fairly common with most other NC weapons, featuring a strong pull upwards with some mild horizontal shift per shot. However, with the EM6, there is some possibility for the weapon to stray left or to the right based on the horizontal tolerance quite far, which means that you will need to mainly pull downwards on the mouse to compensate for the recoil, but there may be some times where you'll need to compensate for some continuous horizontal pull, which could throw your shots off. For those wanting to see the numbers behind it all, we are seeing a 0.45 degree vertical kick per shot with a 1.8 first shot multiplier, so you will see a total of 0.81 degrees vertical kick per shot every time you start a new burst with the weapon. As for your horizontal recoil, it features a 0.175 degree horizontal shift per shot with a horizontal tolerance of 0.7 degrees, meaning that the horizontal shift can pull the weapon to the left or to the right 4 times in a row before it will bounce back in the opposite direction. And this is kind of what I meant when I said that the weapon could at times require some serious horizontal correction when it comes to, the recoil. At the end of the day, the horizontal shift can potentially throw your aim off significantly by pushing the weapon a certain amount of distance from the center. So, that's something to consider. Thankfully, we don't have a horizontal recoil angle to worry about here, so that's a little bit of a silver lining there. But something else to watch out for here is the cone of fire values for moving. All of your cone of fire values are listed to the right of the screen, but the things to keep in mind here is the cone of fire values on the aim/move states, and the punishment that you get hit with when it comes to firing on the move. With the EM6, if we were to quickly move and fire while ADSing, you're going to be put on the back end of the draw really quickly for medium to long range and see a lot of bloom on your accuracy. Something to keep in mind here. Beyond that, the weapon features a 100 round magazine with a 400 round ammo pool that reloads in 4.655 seconds for the short reload and 5.655 seconds if you empty the magazine. She also features a 0.5 times aiming down sights movement multiplier and a 570 meters per second muzzle velocity, which is commendable actually, believe it or not. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the EM6. It's a weapon that is incredibly potent, but when used in the right situations. Something that needs to be emphasized with the EM6 is that you must be in control of your firefights and learning how to pick your fight, and better yet, knowing your balance between your fight and your flight instincts, and that will definitely make your life easier on you. And look, part of this may come from the fact that I am admittingly not the best player around, but the way I see it, the EM6 will really suffer if you try to fight a battle that you don't have the front foot on. When you're forced to play as the reacting force, the average player's aim will be a little bit more panicked and your movement won't be the smoothest out there. And with the EM6's just marginally slower time to kill than some of the other, CQC orientated guns, I found myself in more and more situations where flight was the more desirable than fight. The god-awful hipfire doesn't help the weapon in this aspect at all either. Sometimes all you need to do is reset the engagement on your own terms to allow for you to basically go for those headshots and make it a cleaner kill overall. And I don't say this to discredit the EM6, it's still an incredibly potent weapon. Just be careful not to throw yourself too deep into battle with it. Overall, your best bet here is going to be keeping your targets in front of you and keeping the engagement on your terms, which will mainly come down to your positioning in the base and your understanding of the area around you. Now, stacking on top of that slightly slower than average time to kill is the slightly decreased cone of fire accuracy that actually sees the EM6's playstyle shift from being a weapon focusing on mobile, fast-paced assault to something more along the lines of stopping, establishing a foothold, then pushing up, rinsing and repeating. I know many will say, well, hang on Cammy, if the EM6 is just running the exact same damage stats as the Anchor, has the same rate of fire, more ammo per magazine and a more controllable recoil pattern, then why don't I just use the EM6? And my response to that is because the Anchor's cone of fire values allow for more offensive mobile gameplay. The Anchor features marginally better cone of fire when aiming down sights, both when still and moving. Now, yes, at point blank range, the difference between the Anchor and the M6 may be negligible, but at that 20 meter plus range where a lot of engagements tend to happen, the Anchor is going to feature a tighter bullet spray pattern that will allow for you to score more chain headshots if you can control the recoil, that is. The EM6 is not a bad offensive weapon, it just has a different way of achieving that playstyle which might be alien to some players out there. And after picking up this weapon once again, I sort of realised how much of an alien sort of concept it was to me as well. I would continuously try to push around the corner of a doorway or a window, firing while on the move and realizing that my headshots simply weren't chaining because my bullets were going all over the place. Clearly this weapon is not built for that style of play. Now obviously with the larger magazine size there is a strong invitation here to hold down the trigger considerably longer and just sort of blurt ammo towards enemy targets. The horizontal shift and the quickly blooming cone of fire that hits if you dare to make one step from your original firing position means that you best keep the weapon down to 4 round bursts at max at at further ranges. In closer range engagements, feel free to let loose a little bit. You know, at the end of the day, you should still be able to keep most of your rounds on target. Just that those further ranges don't let your greed take over. Lord knows that I've died on plenty of occasions because of it. So, with all that said, if you ever wanted a version of the Anchor that merely focuses on being a little bit less mobile for more ammo per mag, then this is really your choice of weapon. However, how do we go about emphasizing this weapon's capabilities through attachments? The EM6 has access to optics through to 1x all the way up to 6x. I know, a little bit weird. The forward grip, the dark light flashlight, the laser sight, extended magazines, compensator, flash suppressor, and the high velocity ammunition. Now personally, I think that either the 1x or the 2x optics are the best picks of optics of the bunch, depending on, you know, the range that you're fighting at. The iron sights on the weapon are admittingly a little bit left to be desired, so, you know, any little bit of clarity that you can get your hands on will help out with getting started with the weapon. And after that, I would swiftly recommend collecting a compensator for some added vertical recoil control and just, you know, relief on your arm as you try to bring your mouse back down to, you know, the depths of hell. The hip fire on the weapon is a lost cause anyway, so don't feel any regret mounting the compensator attachment at the cost of hip fire accuracy. There's just no point hip firing with this weapon overall. But now we get to the rail attachment, and honestly, there is a bit of contention with this slot. I'm sure that many of you would be predicting here a quick choice to mount the forward grip, and normally I'd say you'd be right. But with the EM6, you do have a very high horizontal tolerance here with a very low, already standing horizontal recoil kick per shot. So by mounting the forward grip, you will actually make your horizontal kick seem less extreme per shot, yes, but that will actually potentially, in turn, allow for the weapon to spend more time traveling towards that pushback point, which may make the horizontal recoil seem a little bit more erratic or a little bit more difficult to control. So with that in mind, the forward grip is a bit of a catch-22. I personally found some success with it and some success without it, but it will be up to you personally as to whether or not you wish to mount it or not. It's still a fairly safe option to at least buy it and mount it. Worst comes to worst, you don't like it, and hey, it's 100 certs that could have gone elsewhere, but you know, it's not the end of the world. If not, I would recommend taking the extended mags for some more DACA and for some more crowd abilities. And last but not least, do yourself a favour and mount the high velocity ammunition. And guys, with all that said, that kind of concludes today's weapon review of the EM6 light machine gun. It's been a while since I've even played with this weapon, so to be able to revisit it once again to Auraxium it on my second character, it's safe to say I had a really good time with this weapon. If you guys have any weapons that you'd like to see me review in the future, let me know in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed today's weapon review, then please do feel free to backhand that like button, guys. Any and all support is greatly appreciated here on the channel. Yeah guys, and also let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are on the EM6. If you found yourself enjoying the video and you're new to the channel, then backhand the subscribe button here on YouTube, and go follow me on Twitch. The link is in the description down below, and a lot of the gameplay that you guys see on the channel sometimes appears from my Twitch page and the live streams I do there. So yeah guys, all the support would be great. Once again guys, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care guys, have a good one.